Yo, Jeff Shepler in San Rafael, California. I'm going to show you how I cut transition bifocals for your new RayBan 2132 new Wayfarer color 902L, which is the classic tortoise in the 55 eye size. So let's get to work. Here is your RayBan case, your RayBan frame, your RayBan cleaning cloth. We'll set that down. This is how RayBan sends me your frame, with a little plastic sleeve on the left temple. And if they think that's a good idea to protect the temples during shipping, well, by golly, I'm going to put a second one on the other side so we'll have twice the protection. But let me take that off. This is your frame as it comes to me with the heavy glass lenses. I'm going to pop those out. Get those heavy glass ones out. The weight of your frame just was cut in half. But let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to put your Italian frame into my Italian Santinelli LE1000 patternless edger, and the stylus is going to come up and trace the shape of your right lens, and then it's going to move over and trace the shape of your left lens. Here at freeprescriptionlenses.com, where everyone loves a bargain and no one is disappointed with quality. You buy the frame, you get free clear single vision prescription lenses or non-prescription fashion lenses, whatever your choice. So this is the shape of your frame. I'm going to put in the pupillary distance, and let me get everything else programmed in here. And this is being cut, whoops, did I hit the wrong button? This is being cut for a Xyle frame, which is an old school name for plastic. So let me go ahead and begin. Here are your lenses. This is what they look like before I cut them. I've just got to get them down to this shape. So what I'm going to do, just doing some quick math here. What I'm going to do is I need to put this block on here. This is what's going to hold it in place while it is cutting. So I'm going to put this block on, pull the little sticker off, and believe it or not, it's a little 3M pad. The same people who make the Post-it notes make the little sticky pads that go on our blocks. So I've got this lined up, and what I'm doing is just getting everything lined up. I have essentially an optical crosshair, and I'm just making sure your lenses line up in there perfectly. Go a little bit slower for the bifocals. There we go. That one is on there. And now I need to do the same thing for the left. Go ahead and put that one on there. Pull the tape away to make that side sticky. And now let me get this lens lined up just perfectly. Just perfectly. You only get one shot at this. So let me go ahead and take your right lens. And the first thing I'm going to do is put it into the chuck, or as I like to say, the Charles, because I don't know it well enough to call it chuck. But the first thing that's going to happen is these calipers are going to come down and trace the shape of your right lens to make sure that this is large enough to cut out. It is tracing the concave side of the lens first, which is closest to the eyelashes, and then it's going to move over and trace the convex side of the lens, which sits away from the face. The cutting wheel is actually down here at the bottom. It's that lighter color wheel on the left. It's like a heavy grit sandpaper, and that's going to grind away your lens material. And this wheel in the center with that channel, that little valley, that's what's going to put the bevel onto the lens, so it stays inside the bevel of the frame. I will have to close the door in a moment just due to the sound, but for now I just want you to see as your bifocal transitions touches down on the cutting wheel. So your lenses, your bifocal transition lenses, have all the UVA and UVB protection that you could possibly need. We know what the sun's harmful ultraviolet rays can do to your skin from overexposure. Your eyes are 8 times more sensitive than your skin. So you have permanent sunscreen for your eyes. This whole process should take about 15 minutes. It's now 7:32, Tuesday, May 20th, 75 degrees in my hometown of Durham, North Carolina. All the way cross country away from you, Jeff. I am located exactly halfway between Atlanta and Washington, D.C., and halfway between Miami and New York City. So thanks to the internet, I can now ship anywhere in the United States. Yeah, free shipping anywhere in the United States, but I can ship anywhere all over the world. I've got to ship 2 pair of lenses to England tonight. 2 pair of polarized lenses. We see your lens as it starts to take shape. This is the outer temporal area. This is going to be at the nose. If you notice, your lens is completely flat, like a nickel. If I were to take it out, it would stand up on its own. Now it's going over to the bevel wheel, and it's going to put the bevel onto the lens so it stays inside the frame. This is the knife-like edge, albeit a very, dull knife, very dull like me. However, it will be sharp enough to cut wet tissue. If you let the tissue soak in a bucket of water overnight and you push really hard, you might be able to cut through it. This will be done in just a moment, and I'll take it out and see if it will fit. Honestly, I'll actually be skeptical that it'll fit first time around. I programmed my machine to cut a little bit larger, just because the golden rule, you can always cut more off of a lens, you can never add it back on. So I start a little bit large, and once I get the correct size for the right, I will flip it over and cut the left. So before I try and mount it, I'm going to dry it off, and then there's one more step. You still have a little bit of rough edges here, so I'm going to use my hand stone, which is completely flat. I can put my hand on it while it's running, and although my finger gets warm due to the friction, but it's that friction that allows me to put what's known as the safety bevel. And I'm going to clean everything off around the edge of your lens now. And let's see if this will fit in there. In order to mount it, I have to tuck it in at the outside corner, and then using my thumbs I push down at the nose, and there's still a little bit of give. So I'm going to take it down a little bit more. I'm going to do 1/10 of a millimeter. And a millimeter is the distance between my thumbnails. I'm going to take 1/10 of that distance off all the way around the circumference of your lens until it will easily mount into the frame. It's going to bypass the cutting wheel and go straight to the bevel wheel and go round and round until we get it down to the correct size. Once both lenses are mounted, we're going to activate them, turn them dark so you can see what they look like. You probably don't get much sun in California. Why do you need transition lenses? But these are nice, so whenever you go out, of course you'll be able to wear them all the time. But if you go outside on the deck, the porch, anything like that, work on your laptop, read a book, the newspaper, magazine, or even just do anything, these will work great. They're constantly adapting to changing light levels. For those of you keeping score at home, I am wearing the smaller tortoise, the 52 size tortoise today, because I've got my browns on, so every day I pop my lens into a different color frame, and today it happens to be the tortoise. So I'm going to take this out again, back to the hand stone for the safety bevel. Let me clean up my little workspace here. Clean everything around the circumference of your lens. And in order to mount them, I tuck it in at the corner closest to me, then using my thumbs I press down at the nose. It snaps in perfectly. So I'm going to flip this over to the left, and we're going to do the same thing, except this time it's going to trace the shape of your left lens. Just like before, starting with the concave side first, closest to your eyelashes, then it's going to move over and trace the convex side, all the while using those calipers to measure the thickness, so it knows exactly where to place the bevel. I'm just going to clean that sawdust off right there. Got it! Got it, I tell you, Jeff. You're going to be the hit with all your friends. Your friends are going to be so jealous when they see you in these. So I'm going to, as this begins to cut, I will close the door and continue to work on the right lens. So this block is no longer needed. I'm going to pull that off. Take it off, dry it off, throw it back in the bin. I'm going to pull my little 3M sticky pad off. That's no longer needed. And I'm going to use my cleaning cloth to dry everything off, and then I'm going to inspect it up to the light to make sure there are no blemishes, no waves, no scratches, no nothing. just a fingerprint or two, and I'm going to clean those off so you can't turn me into the FBI and collect that big reward. This is just a little graph, and I hold it up to make sure the line is in there perfectly and straight, and it is, because who cut this? Me. The kid is good. The kid is good, I tell you. So, at your request, there is no prescription in the top and plus 150 in the bottom. And as I move it over, the words and the lettering in the background, you should see the magnification really take effect. Nothing in the top, only magnification in the bottom. So, Jeff, if I were to hazard a guess, I would say you're between the ages of 43 and 46. Am I right? Am I right? That's what a 150 power does. You're about a 1 1.25 in your early 40s, a 150 in the mid, and a 175 in the late 40s. I'm in a 175 myself because I am 47 years old. And tomorrow is a big day for me. Tomorrow is May 21st. Not only is it my cat's birthday, but it is my half birthday. My birthday is in November 21st, and May 21st is my half birthday. I just always remember as a kid. That was a big mile marker because now I could tell people I'm 7.5 after tomorrow. So back to the handstone, back to the safety bevel. There is that. I'm going to clean everything off the lens. I'm going to get this mounted. Again, I tuck it in at the outside corner closest to me using my thumbs. Press down, it snaps in perfectly. I'm going to take this block off. Dry that off, throw it back in the bin. Pull the sticker off. And again, I'm going to dry everything off and do a quick inspection. Perfect. I'm going to use my graph to make sure that both are on the same line. Perfect, dead on. We're looking good there. Now, before I activate, there is one more thing I want to do. I do want to tell you that 99% of all optical shops will do free adjustments if you ask them. So if you get these and they're too loose or too tight or high on one side, because 80% of people have one ear that's higher than the other, I am no exception. When I take mine off, put them on the counter, mine have a little bit of a wobble because I have one ear that's higher than the other. But I'm going to get yours in standard alignment, meaning a 3-point stance, 1, 2, and the bottom of the frame being 3. I put yours on the counter, there is no wobble. Flip it over, set it down, there is no wobble. I'm going to close each temple to make sure they overlap perfectly, and they do, and the same amount of tension on each side. And now I want to go ahead and activate them, which means turn them dark. You can see how your lenses are clear now. I've got my little transitions box that has a strong UV lamp, and I'm going to turn it on. As you will see, all transition lenses will get dark on day 1 if you give them 2 weeks. This is very important, Jeff. Keep listening. If you give them 2 weeks, they're going to continue to get darker every day for the first 2 weeks until they get to their final setting. After that, they will work for years with maximum performance. The only time they will not work is when you're in your car driving, unless you have a convertible or a motorcycle, but your windshield absorbs all the sun's harmful ultraviolet rays so your upholstery doesn't rot or your dashboard doesn't crack. And that's why they won't turn dark in a car. As soon as you step out of the car, they will get dark. Now, they get dark in cooler temperatures. Once it gets into the 90s, upper 90s, and triple digits, they just don't get as dark as it does when it's 85 and below. And I like to remind everyone, when it's 100 degrees, you don't like to work well, they don't like to work well, your glasses are miserable, you're miserable, everyone's miserable at that degree and that temperature. So that is that. I've pulled them out. This is what they look like dark, and again, they're going to continue to darken for the first couple weeks till they get to their final setting. If anyone has any questions, just email me at freeprescriptionlenses@gmail.com. And Jeff, I hope you enjoyed watching your transition bifocals being made in your RayBan new Wayfarer, and everyone else got the chance to see how I bring that love and feeling back to glasses. Thank you.